the Expire Gaming. I'm your host, Crown, and today is June 5th. And this is Grey Penance episode 21, the first of the Mechanicum Battle Tanks. It is the Krios Battle Tank. There's another battle tank that came out right alongside these guys, but this is the first for me. So if you're new here, you don't know what the Grey Penance is, I have taken an oath, a vow. I'm on a quest, a crusade. All of these lovely Legions Imperialis miniatures behind me, and there's more miniatures, and once I finish all of that, it'll keep going. But I gotta open these guys. I gotta get them off the sprue. I gotta build them. I need to prime them. I need to paint them. I need to put them on a base. I need to get them on the table ready for action because there's too many of them. My great pile of shame is massive. I don't know how yours compares to it, but mine's pretty big. Biggest it's ever been in my entire life. And I need to finish these before I can get anything else new. And that's a problem because they're always coming out with new stuff that I want. So that's what we do here. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the channel, a little bit of stuff around that, a little bit about the hobby. And then we're going to talk about these guys, how they were to assemble and build, and then more importantly, probably the most important part, comment below what you think the most important part of this video is. We're going to talk about how to use these guys. So, before I go any further, I just want to say we're a little late this week. We're a little behind schedule on things that I want to do. There's so much I want to do and need to do. 2 weeks ago on Friday, I found out I have cancer. And then the following Wednesday, I had surgery to remove the cancer. And then I think I uploaded something in like a fever dream on meds and everything. But I think that I uploaded the Questoris video. Good, go me. Good job. I'm surprised I managed to pull that off. Yeah, so it's gone now. I'm hoping, well, I have follow-up appointments and stuff to figure out like if everything's done or not, but I don't know, we'll see how that goes. One day at a time. And then I just want to thank you all for your support, the guys that are, comments for the comment god and likes for the like throne. I appreciate you guys, watching the videos and stuff, even though I didn't post anything, you guys still found things to watch, so I appreciate that. And hopefully I can keep just making more stuff. I did go ahead today, and I don't want to talk about, hopefully I never have to talk about this ever again. I made a Patreon. It's got a couple of things on it, a couple of different levels of support that you can do. If you don't support, that's fine. I'm not a big deal. But maybe some of those ideas are enticing. I don't know. Hopefully we never, I'm not too big on it. I don't want to be asking for that stuff, but it's there, and if you want to, go for it. And I'll put the comment, I'll put it in the link in the description below. But I'm not gonna harp on that too much, and what it is what it is. So let's talk about these guys, though. I think I covered everything I wanted to. Oh yeah, no, I want to do a battle report. I just haven't been able to stand, and then I want to do we're gonna do a, it's a little bit late, but review the army list for the last battle report that we did. But coming soon. I just can't really, it's hard to get up and walk around right now because of the cut and everything. But yeah, so no more of that grossness. Let's never talk about it again. So this little guy, this was fun. I built it in 3 parts. First I built 3. And then I built 3 more. And I said, cool, I got 6. But what do they want? Some friends. And so I made 3 more. And then I decided, there's another gun in here. There's an IRED scour too. So let's have 3 of those. So now I got 12 of these things. And so this little guy here, he has he's got these sponsons on the side, and they're pretty fun. They're pretty cool. Can we get a focus on that? No? Okay. We try. I always try to focus, but it never works. So it's got this little like M shape, like a little McDonald's arch that you put on the side here. And then you put the gun in that, and that kind of just glues in there. And it's got these wheels everywhere, and wheels. And if you, probably the full-scale size of these guys, you probably magnetize, like, all these little things so that you can wheel them around. And speaking of magnetization, this entire body here, this gun, and a little pilot there, that's one piece. And if you want to use, they got 3 different loadouts you can do, actually. One of the different loadouts is actually a completely different unit. You probably have to like cut the pin and cut the thing and then magnetize it so you can make it so they're all interchangeable and stuff. You get 6 of this lightning cannon, and then you get 4 of the IRAD scour in each box, and then you get 4 of the Krios Venator, whatever that gun is, in each box. I didn't make any of those because you pretty much have to make the entire box into some, because they come in 2s and these come in 3s. So, you know, it is what it is. And then the box is 6, so they meet at 6. But, yeah, I don't do a lot of magnetization, so I just went ahead and built them. But, what I did was, you got this, track. You got the left side, the right side, the middle here connected to one side or the other. I can't remember which. And I think this front plate also connects to it. And then, so you got the left tread, the right tread. One of those has the middle piece, the bottom, and then you get the middle piece, the gun and pilot, as and that was my subassembly, right? So 3 parts, and that made it so I can get to all the pieces. These little cogs here that you can barely see, they don't spin. You could probably make them where they do spin. I just chose not to. The instructions don't even tell you to do it that way. They don't even suggest it. They're just like, hey, glue this here, which is interesting because the conveyor, it tells you like, hey, don't glue it. And these came out later, so I'm wondering if they changed their mind on that. I didn't like the spinning on the conveyor because at this scale, it's too small. Who cares? And trying to paint it while it was on, this would have been easier to paint, but it still would have been a nightmare. I had to, you know, I jammed glue and I jammed paint all around in there to make sure that when you're looking at it from the top or anything, there's no like white space in there that you can see like, oh, look, you can tell where it's not finished. So, you know, and I paint the bottoms too. You're never going to see them, but I paint them. Yeah, so, you know, real easy to do like that. If I could go back, I'd probably not have this guy, this little wheel here on. He was probably the hardest thing to get the glue in around everything on. And I just want to say, this is like, where you've got the pilot back here, this is like a rapier battery, just bigger, and then add sponsons to it, right? Like, rapier's the same thing where it's the gun and treads, and there's a dude hanging out the back, right? And this is just the exact same thing, but it's a bigger gun, it's bigger treads, the dude is hooked up to a little bit more stuff. It's just a giant rapier battery. It's just a giant rapier battery, that's all it is, right? Without the base, and sponsons and stuff. Yeah, add sponsons. There you go. Yeah, no, they came out pretty easy. You know, I did it in like 2 weeks, because I did I think it was 2 weeks. I don't know. I've had a lot of time to paint because I've just been, you know, I just sit here after I finished, I did like a day or two where I was just kind of laying down, and now I just sit and paint. I've even painted a bunch of, they're like Skittles, of walkers, extra walkers for the extra automata for my forces, so that'll make 2 boxes worth of automata for my Mechanicum, my Traitor Mechanicum, and then I'll be done with I'm probably gonna finish in the next week or 2 all of my Mechanicum stuff after I do the Krios Battle Tank, Krios Assault Tank. You know, more of these guys. Love having some more things to finish, but and then we're gonna have a problem because the weather is kind of nasty, and I don't know when I'm gonna get to prime anything again. But I've got everything primed for the next couple of stuff. So a move speed of 8, a 3-up save, a CAF of 0, morale 3, 1 wound, and they are 33.33 points per model. And when you compare them to the primary battle tank of the other factions, you know, the workhorse tanks of the Space Marines and the Solar Auxiliary, you're thinking Predator and Layman Russ, right? That's what I think, at least. When you compare them like that, these guys are the cheapest by quite a little bit. 33 points per model compared to the Predator's 38 points, 3 repeating, of course, and the Layman Russ is 43.75, so a whole 10 points more expensive per tank. And what you are getting with that profile is you have the same move speed as the Layman Russ, which is admittedly the slower of the 2. You have the same save as the Predator, which is admittedly the worst save of the 2. Your CAF is flat out worse than both of them. Unfortunate. Just stay out of close combat. Don't let them get charged. They've got a great point defense gun. The same wounds as both, and your gun range doesn't get worse than the Lehman Russ. Where it kind of suffers, though, is you don't have options for your sponsons. You do have options for your primary gun, but you don't have options for your sponsons, so your sponson is going to remain a light point defense gun. But it is the better light point defense gun of the three. And I probably need to go back and check on things like multi-lasers, but honestly, it might be like the best point defense gun of anything. In fact, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and say it. Prove me wrong, comment below, and we'll have an argument about it, because these guys are awesome. Stormhammers are pretty good point defense, but per point, I think this is better, and I'll show you here. Show you right here. We got a lightning cannon as our first primary weapon choice, and that's the one that comes. You get 6 of these to a box. So every box you buy, you can outfit your entire detachment with lightning cannons. The IRAD Scours come 4 to a box, so you'll need 2 boxes to get 6 of them. You'll have 8 though, but you wouldn't want 8, because then you just have a single one sitting around. So both guns have two shots. Both guns have 2 shots, which is better than, Vanquishers and las cannons. They are at 22-inch, the lightning cannon's 22-inch range and hits on a 5. Not that great. It doesn't have accurate. It just hits on 5s. It's just worse to hit. But it is AP2, and it doesn't have any of the modifiers that mean that it can't, it doesn't have anti-tank, which is not a good thing to have, because having anti-tank means that when you shoot at infantry, you don't get to keep your AP. Light AT means that when you shoot at tanks, at vehicles, you don't get to keep your AP. It has arc, so you have to aim it. It's not a turreted weapon. It's a rapier. It's pointed to the front. Although rapiers, because they're infantry, they don't care which way they're facing. Your other choice is the IRAD Scour. Scour. I think you're shooting radiation. Not as much range, 6 inches less. Hits on 4s though, so that's pretty cool. And it has light AT, unfortunately. So this one doesn't get to keep its AP against vehicles, but it does ignore cover. Interestingly, because it has a better to hit, if you're shooting at higher AP, if you're shooting at things with not higher AP, if you're shooting at things with a worse save, so if you shoot both of these guns at a Rhino, for example, it's not that bad that it's light AT, because Rhino already has only a 50% chance to hit and to save. You have a 50% chance to hit, whereas the lightning cannon has a 1 in 3 chance to hit. So it starts to get a little bit better. If you do find somebody hiding behind cover, it becomes a significantly better, because you're not taking penalties for that. And then, of course, if you decide to shoot some infantry with them, then you're going to be having a great day, because they can't hide in any of the buildings. They can't hide in the cover. And then let's talk about that sponson. So the Volkite Caliver sponsons, it's only 1 shot, and the only thing on this that's 1 shot. 12 inches, 4 up to hit, much better than a bolter. No AP, of course. It has accurate, so you get to re-roll. So you get a 50% chance to hit, and then if you miss, you still get a 50% chance to try again. So what does that math out to? 75% chance? Deflagrate, so if they fail their save, you get an extra hit. You get to roll again. And of course, light and point defense. Doesn't do anything against vehicles, but it will come into play against some tanks. Not tanks, walkers. So I did a little analysis. I did a little calculation. And per 100 points, what damage are you doing against everything? So 100 points for 100 points, you can buy 3 Krios. You can't buy 3 Predators, and you can't buy any Vanquishers. But, extrapolate it and say you're buying, 1,000 points of it, and then you walk it down, right? So the Vanquisher Cannon, of course, is the best against 2-up saves. With the Predator not being, none of them are really that far behind, right? 100 points will kill you one thing, or should kill you one thing, statistically. And then against 3-up saves, the Predator actually takes the lead, and that's all las cannons. So, las cannons for days. It gets better because now you're putting them on a 4-up save, but you've got more shots. Whereas the Vanquisher Cannon Russ, and that's with the las cannon shot. It does make me wonder if I did the math right. All right, yeah, that's I fixed the math. They're both 1.6. I could 1.65, and I rounded a little. We did a little bit of rounding, the Predator starts to overtake as the save gets worse, and that's just because it's got volume. It's got the accurate. At higher saves, you don't really care so much that you have to re-roll because you probably already missed the save anyway. You don't have to worry about your opponent re-rolling a 6-up armor save because they already didn't get the 6-up armor save. But then when you get to walkers, the Predator is just flat out better than everybody. The Krios is also better than against walkers than the Vanquish Cannon Russ. Both of them will, for 100 points, you'll take out 2. This isn't giving us any... This math didn't give us any idea for what'll happen with, dice spiking or anything. But because the Krios is cheaper, I imagine it would do fairly well with that. And it's got the higher shot quantity. But it also is leaving out a little piece of the picture here in that the Volkite Cavalier Sponsons, the entire time, the Predator and the Russ are shooting everything they have at vehicles, and the Krios is, barely behind them, just a little bit behind them. The Volkite Cavaliers are also still firing at infantry and taking out 2.2 bases worth of Marines the entire time, so long as you're within that 12-inch range. And I just used, that's calculated against your regular tactical Marine. So anything worse, if you're up against Solar, then it's going to be even taken out even more. But yeah, that's just some math I wanted to check out and see how they do there. So how you want to use these guys is you want to be able to fire everything you got at them. Unfortunately, you can't specialize against taking out tanks, but you can always dish out more damage to walkers and infantry. You'll never be upset with switching targets because you're always going to have, your gun is still going to be just as efficient. You're never going to lose that efficiency because you don't have anti-tank like las cannons do. You're always going to be able to shoot at infantry responses because they're never going to be able to shoot at anything else anyway. And that makes it helpful that they're point defense, of course, and they got all the buffs for it. You've got a 30-inch threat range with your primary weapon there. You can move forward 8 inches, and then it's got a 22-inch range, so you'll just drive up and shoot things. You'll easily be shooting into the midfield turn 1 without needing to march. And if you do march, you can get a pretty good distance into the backfield, but I'd be careful about that, because the backfield is where Vanquish Cannon Russes are going to be hanging out, shooting at you. I'd be careful with that because if you drive up into the midfield, then you're probably going to be opening yourself up to a lot of other targets. So you might want to... Mechanicum doesn't have a lot of ways to deal with the backfield. You have the... you can outflank with the Voltrax, and you can forward deploy with the Vorax. You can't really infiltrate with anybody, not yet. There are some formations that let you do more stuff, and if you're mixing in some Dark Mechanicum with that, then you do have some other formations that can also outflank some more stuff. You might have some Titans that can shoot back there that far. Of course, that's not going to be point efficient at all. And some of even the Voltrex, they got quite a few dice that they can throw at tanks, but some of it, none of it's got any AP. So, you might want to either ally in some Space Marine drop pods or air assault or Terminators that can deep strikes, something to get back there and start messing with the tanks right away. Or you might want to try allying in some Lehman Russes of your own, or whatever other tanks the Solar Auxiliary has that you want to use to long range to get down range and shoot the enemy tanks. Space Marines, of course, also have their own vehicles that can do that, but a lot of Space Marine vehicles just tend to be more mid range. It's the Guard that have. They're not really the Guard. It's the Solar Auxiliary that has the stuff that really shoots up long range. And, of course, there is the Karachnos Assault Tank that is also really good, and we will be talking about that in our next video, in our next Great Penance video, when that does come out, which I'm going to have to start painting and getting towards that right now. Of course, the only thing left to say is some formations that we have for here. And there's two sides to this. There is, on the left, I've got the Loyalist formation, not Loyalist, the Mechanicum, and then the Dark Mechanicum is on the right. Autocratori Regiment has 3 slots that need to be battle tanks. They don't need to be Krios, because they can also be the Krios Venator, which we're not talking about today because I don't have any of them, or the Karachnos Assault Tank, of course. And then you've got an optional slot, unlike with Knights, where it's very specific to something has to be, this slot has to be that Knight. There's other options in here. And Dark Mechanicum has that same issue for a lot of their stuff too, with the Stalkers pretty much being the only thing that can go in there. Tagma Subcoven, you've got 1 slot in there, and the Order Reductor Subdivision has another optional slot. Interesting thing for the Autocratori Regiment, you can upgrade somebody, you can upgrade one of your battle tanks, one of your mandatory battle tanks, to be the tank, not the detachment, to be Cortex Controller. And so the formation, of course, came out back when your transports, the only transports available to the Mechanicum at the moment, had the ability to transport all of the walkers and all of the infantry and pretty much everything in the army. And now they can only transport 1 of the 2 core options and 2 of the many support options. 3 if you include the Tech Priest. So the way that formation works now is if you take your battle tanks and you decide that you want to have a Cortex Controller, because that's an option, and you take your HQ slot for another Cortex Controller, because that's an option, and then you take your transports to transport something, you now have to use both of those transport. If you want to use both of those transport slots, you probably need to get both of those support slots to be your memorandrons, or however that's supposed to be pronounced. And if you're doing that, you no longer have anything for Cortex Controller to be used on, because there's only 2 support slots. And if you want to have some walkers in here, in those support slots, for your Cortex Controller, because they can't go in transports anymore, there's no need for the transports. So it's just kind of a weird... I really think that they did not intend to nerf those transports as much as they did. I think they were still supposed to be able to transport something. And this formation is kind of, when I look at it, that's all I can think about. But I digress. Actually, that's really all the time and all that I have to say for today's video. You guys have been great. Once again, thank you all for your support. Thank you all for watching. And comments for the comments god, likes for the like throne. I will see you all next time. This has been Eagle Spire Gaming. Thanks for flying by.